Deep in the heart of the swamp-infested village, a sinister energy thrived. Pulsating with dark malice, the village, once filled with joyous laughter and vibrant life, had fallen victim to an eerie silence, broken only by the whispers of the evil spirits lurking in the shadows. As the villagers huddled together, fear-stricken, tales of the cursed old man Horace spread like wildfire. The wicked transformation he had undergone had disturbed the delicate balance between the living and the supernatural, drawing the attention of even more malevolent entities. Within the decaying walls of his dilapidated cottage, old man Horace felt the icy grip of the spirits tightening around his soul. Their presence gnawed at his consciousness, whispering wicked notions into his weakened mind. The lines between reality and nightmarish visions blurred, as his once pristine memories merged with the malevolence of the spirits. Every creaking board and gust of wind sent a chill down his twisted spine, as if the very house itself conspired against him. The villagers, trapped in a fearful dance of curiosity and trepidation, debated whether to intervene. They knew that confronting the evil spirits would require a bravery rarely seen, for these ancient entities thrived on the vulnerability and weakness of mortals. Yet, the torment endured by old man Horace tugged at their compassion, compelling them to venture into the heart of darkness. Accompanied by flickering lanterns, the villagers dared to approach the cursed cottage under the blackest, moonless night. The air hung heavy with dread, thick with the stench of decay and despair. Whispers of the spirits danced on the wind, sowing seeds of doubt in their minds, urging them to turn back before they succumb to the malevolent forces. Inside the twisted world of the cottage, a grotesque transformation overtook old man Horace. His skin, once wrinkled with age, now appeared like mottled, decaying bark. His bones cracked and creaked, as if the weight of a lifetime's sorrow weighed him down. Hollow, lifeless eyes stared out from a face etched with despair, betraying the anguish within. Suddenly, a voice, both chilling and melancholic, drifted through the air. It was old man Horace's feeble plea, begging for salvation from the eternal torment that had taken hold of him. In the darkness, the villagers heard his weakened cries, their hearts pierced by the desperation laced within them. With trembling hands and trembling hearts, the villagers reached out to old man Horace, their touch an offering of compassion amidst the suffocating presence of the evil spirits. They whispered words of love and kindness, hoping to break the insidious hold that had gripped his soul. But the spirits, not ones to relinquish their victims easily, fought back ferociously. Shadows twisted and writhed, threatening to consume both the villagers and old man Horace. It was a perilous battle, a test of their collective resolve against the darkness that sought to overshadow their once thriving community. As the villagers continued their valiant struggle, their unwavering determination began to erode the evil spirit's grip over old man Horace. Slowly, like the first light penetrating a stormy sky, a glimmer of life returned to his haunting eyes. It was a flicker of hope, of the possibility of redemption clawing its way through the dense fog of despair. The villagers, their hearts filled with both triumph and trepidation, watched as the evil spirits slithered away into the depths of the swamp. They knew that this battle was merely the beginning, a small victory in a war that would test their resolve and courage like never before. Though old man Horace had been temporarily released from the clutches of the spirits, their twisted influence had left a lingering mark upon his soul. He appeared caught between two worlds, neither fully in the realm of the living nor entirely consumed by the darkness that had tormented him. The village rallied around old man Horace, determined to bring him back from the precipice of despair. They formed a protective cocoon of love and compassion, encasing him in a web of support. Day by day, they bestowed upon him their heartfelt affection, as if trying to mend the broken pieces of his shattered spirit. But the lingering presence of the evil spirits could not be easily dismissed. Nightfall would often cast a foreboding shadow upon the village, as if reminding them all of the fragile peace they had fought so hard to achieve. Whispers of the spirits could still be heard on the wind. Their icy laughter carried through the swamplands, a haunting reminder of the battles yet to come. As the bitter winter settled in, the village became a battleground for forces unseen. Harsh winds howled through the trees, their mournful cries echoing the deepening dread held within each villager's heart. It was as if the very land had aligned itself with the evil spirits, an eerie symphony of darkness conducted by nature itself. Old Man Horace, weakened but determined, stared defiantly into the face of this encroaching malevolence. His once lifeless eyes now held a glimmer of resilience. Fortified by the unwavering support of the community that had embraced him with open arms, he knew that he could never truly banish the spirits alone. But with the collective strength of the village, he stood a chance. Together, the villagers embarked on a quest, seeking ancient knowledge buried deep within the swamp. They delved into the mysteries of the Nedoli, unearthing forgotten rituals and incantations that held the promise of banishing the spirits once and for all. With every word uttered and every step taken, their determination grew. A blazing fire in the face of cold despair. Armed with newfound understanding, the villagers prepared for a final showdown with the evil spirits. They conducted a ceremony, invoking the names of their ancestors and channeling their love and devotion into a single, powerful force. The air crackled with raw energy, a palpable tension that bridged the gap between the living and the supernatural. As the villagers chanted in unison, their voices like a chorus of defiance, a blinding light enveloped the swamp. The very fabric of reality seemed to unravel, causing the evil spirits to writhe in agony. The villagers pressed on, their resolve unyielding, determined to rid their village of this ancient menace once and for all. In a crescendo of chaos and redemption, the village emerged victorious. The evil spirits, weakened and stripped of their power, dissipated into nothingness, their malevolence vanquished. The swamp, once an embodiment of darkness, seemed to stir with newfound life, as if celebrating its liberation from the clutches of evil. Old Man Horace, now free from the grip of despair, felt the weight of a lifetime's worth of isolation lifted from his worn shoulders. For the first time in his existence, he experienced the warmth of love and companionship, the very antidotes that had cured him of the darkness that had plagued him for so long. Deep within the heart of the shadowed swamp, the spirits stirred once again. Their defeat at the hands of the villagers had only fanned the flames of their twisted wrath, igniting an insatiable hunger for revenge. They seethed and plotted, their ancient power surging through the murky waters, ready to cast a new wave of despair upon an unsuspecting village. Unbeknownst to the villagers, a creeping darkness had begun to inch its way back into their lives. Strange occurrences plagued their once peaceful homes. Objects moved without reason, and chilling whispers pierced the stillness of the night. It was the chilling signature of the evil spirits, laying claim to their territory once more. Old Man Horace, his soul still bearing the scars of their past torments, felt a lingering unease in the air. The glimmer of hope that had enlivened his spirit faltered, replaced by a heavy sense of impending doom. He knew that the evil spirits had not been vanquished for long. Their malevolence now hung in there, suffocating him with its presence, driven by a sense of responsibility and the love that had been bestowed upon him. In his darkest hour, Old Man Horace rallied the villagers once more. It was clear that another battle loomed on the horizon, one that would test their strength and resolve to their very limits. Together, they sought the guidance of the village elder, an ancient sage who held the key to uncovering the secrets of the swamp and its malevolent inhabitants. With trembling hands and voices laden with fear, they implored the elder for answers, desperate for a way to rid themselves of this relentless curse. The elder's eyes, clouded with wisdom and sorrow, met the pleading gaze of the villagers. In a voice filled with a somber tone, the elder revealed a daunting truth that evil spirits could only be fully defeated by confronting the darkness within themselves. Their love and unity, once catalysts for victory, would now be tested under a harsher light. Clutching onto the sage's words, the villagers embarked on a journey of introspection and self-discovery. They delved deep into their own hearts, confronting their darkest fears and digging out buried wounds. It was a painful and grueling process, but one necessary to reclaim their village from the vengeful spirits that now haunted it. In quiet corners and by flickering candlelight, the villagers faced their shadows and wrestled with the demons that lurked within. Secrets were laid bare, hearts were mended, and forgiveness was sought with an unyielding determination. As they faced their inner turmoil, their collective strength grew. Fortified by the bonds of shared vulnerability, armed with newfound introspection, the villagers stood ready to combat the evil spirits once more. They united in a display of solidarity more profound than ever before, their love radiating from their souls like a beacon of defiant hope. The battle that ensued was more harrowing than anything they had ever encountered. The spirits were relentless in their assault, their vile presence threatening to drown out the light within each villager's heart. But in the face of darkness, the villagers stood tall, embodying an unwavering spirit of resilience that transcended the physical realm. Their battles waged on, the air filled with the sounds of clashing forces and anguished cries. The village became a battlefield of light and shadow, the fate of its inhabitants hanging precariously in the balance. In a climactic crescendo of collective strength, the villagers unleashed their love, their unity, and their resilience. It was a force that penetrated the darkness, peeling away the layers of malevolence that had plagued them. The evil spirits writhed and screamed, their once mighty power reduced to nothing more than fleeting echoes. But as the final echoes of victory subsided, the villagers understood that the cycle of the evil spirits was far from over. They had tasted the bitterness of revenge and would not relent until their twisted desires were sated. The villagers knew that they must remain,